All right, now to our first commentary on the program this morning. Osun State is now in the final stretch of its governorship election, and one of the clearest signs that election day is getting closer is the arrival of sensitive electoral materials in Osogbo. Ballot papers and other materials are being moved under security arrangements, while more than 30,000 corps members have been mobilized for the exercise. The election is scheduled for the 15th of August, and with logistics now moving into place, attention is shifting from preparation to whether the process will actually inspire confidence among the voters.
But while INEC and the security agencies are preparing for election day, the political atmosphere in the state is becoming increasingly intense. There have been serious accusations and counter-accusations between the major political camps, and that is where this election becomes more than a contest for votes. The question is whether political competition can remain within the boundaries of democratic contest, or whether the language being used by some political actors is beginning to now raise the temperature way too far.
And one of the developments attracting attention is the controversy surrounding Senator Francis Fadahunsi and comments attributed to him concerning members of the Accord Party. The reported statement has generated outrage because of its alleged call for violence against political opponents. Now, whether you support the APC Accord or any other political party, there has to be a line that political competition cannot cross.
Because once politicians begin talking about opponents in language that can be interpreted as a call for physical harm, the issue is no longer simply about who wins an election. It becomes a question of public safety and the responsibility of political leaders to control the people who listen to them. And Governor Ademola Adeleke has responded to the calls made by Fadahunsi, to the remarks made by Fadahunsi, making a call for Fadahunsi's arrest over the alleged statement. That immediately raises another question. How should the authorities respond when a politician is accused of making a inflammatory statement during an already tense election? But we'll take it to the moment where Fadahunsi makes those comments, and then take it to the moment where Adeleke made the response. But first, we'll take a look at Fadahunsi's comment on the issue. If we have that, then we can roll to that. And then Governor Ademola Adeleke has got response to that particular video you just listened to. Though he spoke in the Yoruba language, he calls for some very unprintable words. I'm pretty sure that's why he had to do that in Yoruba language and not in English language. But the governor of the state has got response to that as well.
We have credible reports that a police signal has arrived in Osun directing immediate arrest of Accord Party leaders. We also know the directive includes that they should be taken to Abuja immediately and should not be released until Monday. I have spoken to the Inspector General of Police about the reported directive to arrest Accord Party leaders. But I am appealing to him that if this development is, if it is true, it is illegal and present Nigeria as a lawless country. Arresting Accord Party leaders on the eve of an election amount to police helping.
And now on television yesterday, Fadahunsi came on to make some clarification to say he did speak in Yoruba and no one can interpret word for word what he said. He said what he said, people should attack with their votes and not otherwise. But you did listen to that voice, and Fadahunsi had a reply We'll bring that to you on the course of the commentary. But now, should the police investigate immediately? Should there be some call to action or something? But then, it's Osun in focus, and the Senator Fadahunsi's remarks have now sparked fresh conversation now, and left many Nigerians saying what is going on. And that leaves us with three very important things to consider. First, we have the original statement attributed to the senator, and then we have a governor also alleging that he's heard rumors and speculation that members of his party, Accord Party, will be arrested and taken to Abuja on no just cause. And now we have the senator pushing back, saying he did not make the call being attributed to him, saying that he did not call for anyone to be killed. So we'll take it to that moment where on television yesterday, he did make some of those comments to push back what we saw earlier.
If you listen to me very well, I didn't say it in English, so you cannot interpret all this in English. I told them, this show that they are weak. This show that they cannot win. They should shut them down by their vote. They should kill them by their vote. So anybody that is interpreting in the tip-top here and there, that is his business.
But we just played the video, Senator. We played the video.
Did you understand the Yoruba I say?
Yeah, I'm a Yoruba. I speak Yoruba fluently. I've read the news in Yoruba. I write Yoruba fluently with all of the marks. And what you said, and we can play it again, Senator, except if you say that you made a mistake in what you said, and if you say that that is exactly not what you said.
And that leaves us with three very important things to consider. First, we had the original statement attributed to the senator. And then now he's here refuting all of those claims to say, I didn't say that, I said that. You just listen to it. Whether you're watching us live on our YouTube channel, you saw that. You're listening to us via the radio, Real 99.3 FM Abuja. You also heard all of that. But there's also the bigger issue here. Politicians are not speaking into a vacuum. Their supporters are listening. Their words are repeated at rallies, on social media, in communities, and sometimes through party structures. So a statement made by a political leader can therefore travel much further than the person who made it. And during an election, when emotions are already high, language can either calm the situation or even make it more worse or even more tense. And right now, that is not what the Osun people want to see. That is not what Osun State should be hearing at this point.
So is it a case where the senator was perhaps caught in the heat of the moment, caught up in his emotions, and perhaps, just stepped outside the bounds of political rhetoric to make that statement, which is why the timing of this controversy is particularly important. We understand sensitive electoral materials have arrived. More than 30,000 core members have been mobilized. Election officials are preparing polling units, security agencies are making deployments. We had all of those conversations yesterday. The responsibility, in fact, goes beyond INEC. Political parties do have a responsibility when we talk about election and electoral safety now. The citizens, candidates have a responsibility. Party agents have a responsibility. Traditional leaders are not left out. Civil society. Everyone is part of it. There's also another issue which is entered the conversation, which is the use of the BVAS. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has raised concerns around the deployment of technology, adding another layer to the debate over transparency and credibility of the Osun election. BVAS was introduced to strengthen voter accreditation and help address some of the weaknesses associated with previous elections. But technology alone cannot create trust. A machine can authenticate a voter, but it cannot convince a suspicious voter that the entire process is fair. That requires a certain level of transparency. And in fact, if it's a technical problem, voters and political parties need to know how it will be handled. If it's a dispute, there must be a clear process for resolving it. And if one political party raises concerns about technology, those concerns should be addressed with facts rather than simply dismissed as political noise. And I mean, Marian, all of this is happening to an election that precedes the general election. This is the last by-election before the main one, the big event. And if we're having all of these issues being discussed, all of this controversy, I mean, where does that leave us in terms of credibility, in terms of transparency and the fairness of the elections?
We have to remember the history of Osun elections. Now, if you go down memory lane, looking at the 2022 governorship election was closely contested, with Ademola Adeleke defeating the incumbent Boyega by roughly over about 28,000 votes before the result became the subject of a prolonged legal challenge. Now, that narrow margin tells you something about the political stakes in the state. When the difference between victory and defeat is relatively small, every polling unit matters, and every stage of the electoral process comes under intense scrutiny, which is why the current political temperature deserves attention. You know, we're not just saying that tension will automatically lead to violence. We're saying that is exactly the period when political actors, security agencies, and election officials need to be particularly careful about what they say and how they act. I mean, you have people who listen to you. Right now, this comment has gone way out of when he said it. It's been trending online, even offline, because once people begin losing confidence in the process, even ordinary disagreement can become politically charged. You say something, there are lots of, even something you say, a word you say in English language can be interpreted in so many ways. Not for you now saying it in a language that people also understand. And then that's word alone, election is on Saturday. Today is Wednesday already, right? And just days of the election, and we have comments like this, and we are looking for a calm in Osun State. Does this comment bring calm in any way to the people of Osun or to even the actors now? And this is where the role of security agencies now become critical. Their job is not simply to deploy personnel on election day. It is to create an environment where voters can exercise their right without fear or intimidation. At the same time, security agencies must operate within the law and maintain neutrality. Their presence should reassure voters, not intimidate them. Yes, your presence is very much needed, but it's not for intimidation, but it's to maintain law and order. That's why you're there. Neutrality.
Well, what's going to happen between now and election day? Can the political temperature come down? Can political leaders moderate their language? Can security agencies remain neutral? Can INEC communicate clearly? Can voters go to the polls without fear? These are big and major questions that matter right now, because Osun does not need an election where the loudest voices dominate. It needs an election that is free, fair, and credible, where the voters, in fact, have the final word. And that's the much you can take on that particular conversation.